All right, I'm live. Sometimes it feels good to do that. Hey, Leia, will you hit the switch on the back light and see if it makes any difference? There's still a bit of a glare on my glasses. I think it's worse. Try it again. Turn that on. I just can't seem to get rid of the glare off my glasses. Whoa, wait. That's just a yellowy glare. But no, I think that's better. Keep it that way. I mean, it was really bad the first time, but now it's just subtle. This is supposed to be a discussion about Veilfallen, the 1904 event. I'm going to quickly go into a really quick, fast description of the game of Veilfallen, which used to be called Halix Rigidus. And the town is still Halix Rigidus, but the title of the game and the title of the saga is Veilfallen. And it might be noisy here because I got traffic here and there's nothing I could do about it, just the circumstances where I'm at the time that I'm doing this. So I'll try to speak up just in case. Leia, can you hear me okay over there?
Yeah.
If you can hear me okay, then hopefully they can hear me out there.
Yeah.
All right, so Halix Rigidus is a game where you're playing one of 6 characters that travels through the town of Halix Rigidus, searching for clues as to where this gate has opened, and it's having these weird creatures from the netherworld come in and wreaking havoc on the town. And so your job is to find out where this gate is and to close it down. In the process of that, though, you know that there's somebody that's preventing you from finding it and trying to keep it open, or at least preventing you from closing it. So
The
you're
light is not there. That one is
what's not there?
there. You're live. Are you on live right now?
I'm going. Yeah, it says I'm live. So if you can't find it, then we're doing something wrong. But that's okay. I'll just do this quick description, and then we'll move on. All right. So anyway, as you're seeking for the gate location, and whoever might be at fault of keeping the thing open, you are also fighting off insanity. So what it is these abominations that have come into the town. They're all psychic creatures. They've got a lot of psychic powers and psychic energy. This energy emanates from them like radiation, boom, boom, and it saturates the town. And people start going insane. You start getting psychic abilities that you can't control, you can't handle them. And so all kinds of weird things are happening all around town from these weird abilities that just go awry and do their own thing, and you can't control them. Or you can't control them, and so you go crazy. You're totally bonkers out of your brain. And that happens also in a variety of ways. All these things happen as events within the game. So as you're trying to solve this mystery, you're also going insane. You will go insane usually multiple times in the game, and there's a place you can go to get some sanity back and calm your mind so that you can continue going through town and solving this puzzle. Now, you learn that, of course, one of your own companions is the cultist that is trying to maintain this gate. So you got to figure out who it is, which is, of course, one of you, and then you've got to defeat them and shut this gate down. So that's the whole premise of the game. So based on that story of the game is where the story of Veilfallen begins, is right there. That game actually happens in the year 1942, and it's the second Veilfallen event. But the first Veilfallen event happens in 1904. So that's the first gate that anybody knows about anyway. But what we do know about it is that it wasn't originally a gate, it was actually just a window from the future looking down into the past. And then Elizabeth, who is a psychic girl of our day, very, very powerful psychic. The Mark family is known for being psychic, at least locally. They try to keep it hush-hush beyond the town, and even a lot of the town doesn't really understand. But ultimately, Elizabeth was born with massive amounts of psychic ability, and so they kept her on the farm, secluded, not to protect her from the town, protect the town from her. She needed to learn how to control it, and it takes some time to learn that, and her powers were very powerful. And so they kept her on the farm, kind of secluded in a way. And they had a few people come out that were in the family that have psychic abilities that are kind of strong in the family. They'll come out and kind of train her. She'll be tutored by them periodically. Most of the time, she spent her time on the farm in the woods. There's a lot of woods in New Hampshire, and so she spent a lot of time out in the woods. Her abilities were specific but very powerful, and it's mostly sensory. So she understood things. She could hear things. She could understand things. She could sense things. She always talked about the trees and the plants. They always talked, and she could hear them. Sometimes interacted with them, but they don't like listening to people. She liked to hear them argue because they were loudest when they argued, and she could hear them better. So these are comments that she made to her family. And she one day in the woods, she found something, and she didn't know what it was. She knows everything in the woods. She hears it. She listens to it. She senses it. She participates in all the ways that we don't understand. But this one thing appeared one day, and she says it had no soul. It had no emotions, no feeling. It was there. She could see it, and she could sense it to a degree, but only as a minor thumbprint in a sense. But she had no sensory of it. Well, she was a little bit afraid of it, but not really. She was mostly curious, and she didn't want to get in trouble, so she stayed away. But eventually, she got curious, and she got up close to the thing, and she's looking at it, trying to get some semblance of feeling from it. But there's just nothing there. So, out of her curiosity of somebody that knows everything around in ways that none of us can even comprehend, she just can't stand it. And so she reaches out to touch it. And when she does, she's pulled inside and she's gone. Well, maybe a few hours later, it could be quite a while later actually, the father was working, and he knows his daughter's safe in the woods. She's been out there a lot, even when she was tiny. And she's got all these sensory skills that, danger just can't get close. Anything that feels wrong, she would feel it coming along before. And so he's never worried about her at all out here. But she's also very prompt and, coming in for dinner and all those sorts of things. And so she doesn't show up. And so he goes to look for her, like any concerned parent would do. And he finds her tracks in the woods. And he follows her tracks to this strange thing. Now, one thing to note is Ian, her father, he was born into the same family, and he has what you call a latent psychic ability. A lot of the psychics have a latent psychic, meaning that they have zero psychic ability whatsoever. But power can be sensed from them. But you don't know what level it is because it's latent, and unless it activates, and there's no real way of understanding what's there. And he was latent. A lot of them are latent, and he was one of those. And so, but when he touched the gate or window in this sense, or by this time it is a door or a doorway, Elizabeth, when she touched it, she actually activated something within it and created a two-way doorway out of it instead of a one-way window when she was pulled through. Ian, he touches it and he goes through also, but he appears in the future, about 5,000 years in the future. And he sees horrendous abominations. There are tons of them. And they are so horrifying looking and so unnatural. His mind can't take it. His mind literally cracks. And he sees his daughter there, and she doesn't seem concerned, but he's just too concerned, and his mind just can't handle it. And he steps back through the gate. And when he does, his abilities, well, actually, they activate when he's there. But in his fear, he steps back through the gate, and the gate shuts, and it's gone. His daughter's trapped on the other side in the future, and he's trapped here on this side without his daughter. And his latent abilities activate, and he has zero control over them. And we do all kinds of wild things to him. And he's in the story for a long ways at this point in time. Elizabeth is very rarely in the story, but she actually is in for quite a while also. But Ian outlives his daughter by a long shot. But that's something to get into later. My video is already staying too long. That's more or less the basics of the first Veilfallen event in 1904. If anybody has questions, they can ask, and that'll happen later, I suppose, because I'm still not sure how this live stuff works. But at least I'm getting started. That's all I know. So here we go, ending this one. Goodbye.